sure about you, but that's etched in my subconscious now. Burr, 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 burr. Pomp and Circumstance every weekday morning at 8:30. It's me, Carl Munson, with the Good Morning Portugal live stream from expatsportugal.com. How are you this morning? How's it going? Beginning to feel a lot like Christmas, I hope. We have some lovely pictures. I'll tell you what. Let me just show you, let me just run through them really quickly now, metaphorically. I'm not going to be straining myself. So metaphorically running, let me just give you a quick light show because we've got news from the Premier here in Portugal about some of the restrictions, new restrictions for Christmas. They don't seem too bad, but it's all relative, isn't it? So we'll come back to those. But first of all, I'm going to light up Christmas. Lighting up Christmas is the priority. Okay, so there's this, and there's this, and there's this. And then there's this, and then these are from Viana de Castelo. We'll come back and attribute them correctly. There's this. Oh, hold on a minute. What's that? That's the erotic collaboration, Things That Go Gump in the Night by the Paperback Rioters. You see, a riot of gumpers. Been working on that novel, haven't they? There's this rather marvelous image as well. Look at that. This is the fabulous Hotel Park in San Martino de Porto. But if you want to put a Hitchcock filter on it, it looks like this, and the music in the background changes, and birds fly from the turret. Oh, look at that. Quite incredible. Thank you to Randy. We'll come back to everybody who's sent in these pictures, and we'll look at them more leisurely and lovingly. Lighting up Christmas. This is what we're doing as we start the show this morning. And look at that boat. Thank you, Amit, for that one. And a crispy morning in Northern Europe. Look at that. Thank you, Matty. That's proper crispy, isn't it? And cold. Lucky to be in the warm Tesla there, I think. So thank you for those. We'll come back to them. We'll take a more leisurely look later. Wow, the sky is crazy. No rain, blue skies, and wild clouds. So no rain, but you have got blue skies and wild clouds by the sound of it up there in the north of Portugal, Rebel Mama. Thank you very much for these lovely weather reports. We'll look to see if we are consigned to a rather wet and miserable Christmas, in terms of rain anyway, not in terms of what we're bringing to the party, as it were. But thank you, Thunder, who's right behind the light up Christmas sentiment for 2021. Can you go to beach restaurants outside with lateral flow from December the 25th? We're going to try and find out together this morning, Chile, because it can get a little bit complicated, can't it? Currently, of course, you can be outside without your vaccine passport. And I'm wondering, like you, if you could still go and sit outside. Other people watching. Oh, Francis is here. Hello, Francis. I was just thinking about you earlier on. The people around the world will be wondering, sitting outside a restaurant. Well, for people who don't want to show papers, etc., and move freely, that is the option at the moment, is to sit outside. And when the weather's fine here in Portugal, and it's not raining, and the temperature's around above 10 degrees centigrade, it's fine to do so, isn't it, Gilly? But I think the question you're asking there is, will you need a test to be able to rock up, even to sit outside, and on Christmas Day? We'll see if we can put it together. From the news reporting from both the Portugal News and the Portugal Resident this morning. Who else is in? Let's have a look, shall we? Victoria, Thunder, they're all in, everybody. Bon dia, alegria, Portugal, in capital letters. Yet the music seems to stiffen the sinews and summon up the blood in the morning, doesn't it? Hola, bon dia, kids, from Victoria. You back from Spain? How many of those cookies did you buy, Victoria? It's disgusting. Bon dia, Carl, sending Christmas love, peace, and happiness to all of you. We've really, we are rather smutty, aren't we? As we've degenerated towards the end of the year in the pandemic, it's like, whatever, we'll show phallic pictures of cookies and naughty Santas if we please, and write erotic novels together. That's what's been going on. Are we gonna just get a whole lot more ethical, moral, and upstanding in the new year? I wonder. I doubt it. Bon dia, Carl from Deagle, sending Christmas love, peace. Oh, the greetings are coming in. This is fantastic. Okay, and I will tell you what's going to go on with the schedule for the next few days, as you may be wondering, of course, what's going to happen between now and the new year as far as the Good Morning Portugal schedule goes. Maybe you haven't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Please share Christmas, holiday, and New Year greetings in the comments, just as Deagle has done here. So, bon dia, Carl, sending Christmas love, peace, and happiness to all at GMP, all the Gumpers, the riot of Gumpers, and may 2022 be a healthy year to all. Thank you so much, Deagle. Happy to handle any number of those from people. And don't forget, this is a platform where you can send a message to the folks back home as well, if you wish to too, and you can draw their attention to it or show them on the replay. And this is a very good point of order from Deagle. Carl, just because it's Christmas, don't forget your 15 minutes each day. I had a bit of a moment, an opportunity to watch a couple of episodes of Gloria in the day yesterday. So I'm going to claim that. It's quite fascinating, isn't it, Gloria? And each time you hear a phrase and can corroborate it with the English subtitles, you're thinking, yes, I rock. I got that bit of mumbling between lighting cigarettes on the that's the soundtrack of Gloria to me. Car drives across the Alentejo landscape. Some of that music, some of that slightly creepy music. Car stops. Man, I'm not spoiling it for you, I assure you. I hope not. Car stops. Man gets out of car, talks to man in other car. That's it. That's Gloria in a nutshell for you. But I'm able to pick out some of the Portuguese there in the very, colloquial or everyday conversational Portuguese that is featured in Gloria. But so, yeah, he's quite right. Don't forget your 15 minutes. No one's talking about it anymore, Deagle. It's only you, mate, that's doing a good job at this time of year. Or are you? Let's find out. James is a good person to ask about that. Feliz Gata, boas festas e alegria. Todos from James Holly this morning. Morning, James. How are you? Yellow slug man, banana slug man. With a bon dia to the Gumpers. And look, Hank's here, everybody. Hola, bon dia. Howdy, all you wonderful people. Hey, Hank. Look, check this out, everybody. Omicron willing, and we'll just fill in the picture all around, the current restrictions and what the numbers are in Portugal. So let's do that for at least you, Hank. Counting down the days until we're on the plane, December the 30th. Jim's here somewhere as well, I think. Let's see if Jim's checked in with us this morning. But that's great news, Hank and Connie. Safe journey to you both. Boa viagem and boa sorte. Bom dia, alegria a todos from Matty. Amazing on the road during today's show. And we did, let's look at that again. I mean, that's looking like a cold morning. Is the heater all right on the Tesla? I suspect it isn't. I imagine you've got individual heated seats, heated headrest, maybe heated steering wheel. What else you got on there, Matty? But that looks proper cold and crispy there, mate. Eusebio, the prof's here. Bon dia. Okay, here we go. All right. Do you want to see that picture again? This is what we're working on, everyone. What on earth is going on here? This is the working title of our new erotic collaboration. And again, I mean, that word in itself, what are you doing in there? Oh, it's okay. We're just collaborating. Is that what they call it these days? Things that go gump in the night. This is the working title. Look at that. That's like the scene from Titanic, isn't it? Well, shortly after, DiCaprio has drawn Kate like one of his French ladies. A line I like to use with Mrs. M. Would you like me to draw you like one of my French girls tonight? Not really. So by the Paperback Rioters. Do you like that little play on words? Paperback Rioters, the riot of Gumpers, getting involved in writing the erotic novel together. I don't think it's ever been done before. And you can understand why at times, can't you? Bon dia, she said to the handsome Latin man, her cheeks flushed at the thought that she would be doing her 15 minutes in Portuguese any moment. Yes! Oh, yes. Very good, Prof. Very good. Have you just ditched the history this morning and you just go straight into the smut this morning? Very, very good, though. That brings a new meaning to doing 15 minutes in Portuguese, doesn't it? I did it in Portuguese. Muito bem. Okay. I want to go to it. I wanted to show another picture there, and I can't remember why. But anyway, I just keep distracting myself, as you may have noticed. Hank! James! Matty! Andrew! Hank! Andy! Go! Okay, the man cave greetings out of the way there. I hope you enjoy that. And the pets around the world will be looking at their owner's laptops. What the hell just happened there? Boas festas from Thunder. Simple two-word greeting there. This greeting, says Thunder, implies no promise by the wisher. Oh, yes, T's and C's now. This is probably what he's doing around Lisbon, going up to people saying, Boas festas. And then this greeting implies no promise by the wisher to actually implement any of the wishes for himself or others and is void where prohibited by law. The value of your investment may go up as well as down. Boas festas, everybody. Are bars and restaurants shut down after the 26th or just the bars and nightclubs? I think it's the latter, Hank. We will find out. We must find out. For those headed this way, and for those already here, of course. Hank Stelica, dear Lord Omicron. It does sound like a character that could have come from from Doctor Who, doesn't it? Or Star Trek, the Lord Omicron episode. Hopefully he's defeated, right? I only ask that you let me enter the golden domain of Portugal. I am forever your humble servant. Ha! James, we are not going to bow down to Lord Omicron. I'm going to kick him straight in the nuts as far as I'm concerned. So it shall be written. So it shall be done. Well done, you two. That should do it, shouldn't it? Amen. Very good. Ominous Dominus. Do I need to continue in that voice? I don't know, but in the most frequently uttered phrase used in Portugal, I'm willing to put my money on the answer of, it depends. By the way, from Hank to James, I'll be responding to your email shortly. I always love that preposition, but I will drink whatever you put in front of me. Excellent. Very good. Now he's talking. I can see what's going on there. No need to worry about if the bars or clubs are open. Looks like it's all happening in casa there with James and Hank and Connie. Bon dia from Laura P. How are you, Laura? I'd rather have a free bottle in front of me than a prefrontal lobotomy. Thank you, James. Jim, look, bon dia todos from Jim and Mandy in Peniche. Oh, yes. Thank you all for helping us get over the finish line. We are so happy. That's fantastic news, Jim. So in your casa over here, your temporary casa anyway, that's great news, Jim. How is it? How is it for you and Mandy? Tell us about your first impressions of Peniche, if you will. Okay, he hasn't forgotten the history, everybody. Eusebio's here. It's nearly 8:45 today. And the doc's here, of course. The doc's here at soon after 9 o'clock. From a lay-by in Leiria, probably. Or maybe he's at home at the moment. Maybe there's no school run at the moment. Tuesday. I don't know why I said Tuesday. It is, of course, Wednesday. Today, not Tuesday, in Portuguese history. Number one, the 1963 Dutch cruise ship Laconia burns at sea north of Madeira with a loss of 128 lives. Grisly one yesterday and today. Air crash yesterday. Dutch ship disaster. That's awful, isn't it? North of Madeira there with a loss of 128 lives. Yeesh. In 1963. Okay, hopefully he's got a more cheerful one coming up. Hola, bon dia todos povos from Rebel Mama, and hola a todos from Pedro Gomes. I wasn't sure if I was able to show the picture of your kids or not, Rebel Mama. I will stand by on that. Hi, Rebel. Laura, Pedro, bon dia. Wow, yes, and this is the weather report from up there in the north. Crazy sky, wild clouds. Getting a bit of blue sky here. I thought we were in for grey skies until the new year. We're looking at the weather report yesterday, which I'll do again today. But there are flashes of Portuguese brilliance in the sky. Francis, look, quick pop in. We've been missing you. Bom dia, alegria a todos. Hope you're all good. Shoulders deep in vacation, being good to rest. Well done, sir. Missing Good Morning Portugal. Wishing all you wonderful people a festive season. Fantastic. Cheers, Francis. You go back to your holiday now. Thank you for popping in. I hope you're having a great rest and recuperation. You absolutely deserve it. And we look forward to your company in the new year. Super windy and some proper rain overnight. It has been very rainy and wet, hasn't it? In Portimao, even in Faro, it's raining, everybody. And it comes to something when you have to say that. After a Hugh thunderstorm, a Hugh Jackman, a Hugh thunderstorm yesterday. Today seems bad weather again in Albufeira, says Laura P. So huge thunderstorm there. Wow. Morning from Corey Dyspraxis. Hey up, Corey. How you doing? Oh, Portuguese history. And number 2 today, 1536. Evora. The first, oh no, it's not any more cheerful, I don't think. The first inquisitor, General Diogo da Silva, heard the preliminary accusations against Pedro Corte Real, a nobleman who claimed that Luther spoke the truth. Oh, it's all kicking off in Évora. There's it's sort of inquisitorial atmosphere developing at the moment, isn't there? In the pandemic, the pitting of the vaccinated and the unvaccinated against each other, and people having to proclaim their position. A resonance there, would you agree? Good morning from M. Hello, M. How are you doing? M, can you explain to us your lovely Facebook profile picture? It does look lovely, getting a great big hug from something you might see in a Portuguese park, actually, covered in astroturf. And Owen is here, everybody. Anyway, good morning, M, and to Owen. Now, my hope is that love becomes the dominant variant. Yay! There you go. Light up Christmas and let love become the dominant variant. It's about time, isn't it, Owen? Bon dia, Gumpus from Owen. Hello, mate. Rain is life supporting. Yeah, I know. It is a shower for earth and it makes the landscape lush and green. But you don't spend 7 days in the shower, James. Just a little bit, little and often is good, right? Rain also helps us be so grateful for the sunshine. He's being philosophical again this morning. Thank you, James. Thank you for that. Pictures of phallic cookies. That's quality programming I tune in for. Okay, fair enough. Well, Victoria, can we have that photo? Because she's shocked over the border, perhaps, I don't know. Were you shocked when you saw those? I mean, I wouldn't want to put anything like that in my mouth. Famous last words, right? May your next year be full of us honoring our truth. Marvelous, M. Yes, indeed. Great greeting. May your next year be full of us honoring our truth. Honoring the truth. There's a thing. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? A bit like Western civilization, as Gandhi, I think, said. It would be a good idea. Good morning, Carl and Louisa and team. Thank you for your company throughout the year. To each and everyone, Merry Christmas! Thank you, Jacqueline. That's marvellous. No, Carl. No naughty icing-covered waffles for me. Well done. Yes, imagine you just blushed and walked away, Victoria. I would have done, and many others here would have done. But we know there are some that would have just rushed straight up there and give me 3 of those and just. I may have to go to the 15-minute confessional, not being my usually consistent self. You're on holiday. My goodness, give yourself a break, Francis. Please don't be giving yourself a hard time on our account. We don't want that. Does it listening to flight safety regulations on tap count towards 15 minutes? It does. It absolutely does. But surely, to goodness, it doesn't go on for 15 minutes, does it, in Portuguese? It just feels like it, I suppose, doesn't it? Good morning, Carl. Oh, okay. That's the Jacqueline's lovely greeting to us. Wishing each and everyone a wonderful Christmas, and may 2022 be kind. Kindness, another key word, right? Hashtag kindness for 2022. Jazz Funk track of the day before we have a look at that weather and the news. Although we can take it easy, Doc won't mind, will he, if we go through the news together on the restrictions. Hola, bon dia. Jazz Funk track of the day, Patrice Russian. You remind me. I so love that tune. Fantastic track from an amazing artist, just like the Super Gumpers. We are family as well. Sister Sledge. Very, very good. And while we were over at Owen's on, when was it? Monday. He was playing a few good ones that you'd have thoroughly approved of. Portuguese in Love, Tanya Maria, for example. After listening, hey, Doc's here already. I'll bring him on. There's no point hanging about, is there? There's no point keeping him waiting like he used to do to people as a doctor, no doubt. I wonder, let's get into estimate how many minutes, possibly hours or days, he kept people waiting for in his waiting room. I know he can't help it. He's got to give people their due time. But can you imagine that? If you actually add up all the time people wait in waiting rooms, it adds up to years, doesn't it? I'm not trying to make him feel bad, I promise you. After listening, it's not what we're about here. It's just a random thought that occurred to me. After listening to a full 5 minutes of a Portuguese conversation yesterday, I recognise Thursday and tomorrow. I can do it. Well done, James and Francis. And just before we bring the doc on, sounds like I better throw in my best wishes for 2022. New things and wishes for all the best and good health in the new year. May all your dreams come true and it be the best year. Okay, is that? Oh yeah, best yeet. Is that a South African thing? A yeet. Wishing you a happy yeet. It's a year, of course, from Francis. Thank you for that, mate. Really, really, so good to have met you this year. And I think we wish you. I know we wish you a super holiday, pre-Christmas holiday, and a festive season. And we'll see you again. Carl, getting started a little early today. How very dare you, Hank Stelica? I'll not have that talk on my show. I resent it, but I don't deny it. Merry Christmas week. Love to all you gumpers from the OLP, Oregonians living in Portugal. Fantastic. That's it for now in the comments. We've got news, we've got weather, and of course, more importantly, we got the Doc. Hello, Doc. How are you, sir?
A bit got up a bit later than normal today, but I'm cool. I'm good.
Well, you're not in your car in a lay-by unless you've bought yourself a motorhome and done it just like your house. And you are a lay-by. You love it so much.
No school run today, thankfully.
Very good. And the shutters down, I noticed there. Are you becoming Portuguese and just opening your shutters strategically as and when necessary?
Absolutely. It's to contain the heat, but I always open that one's no good for the lighting. I open the one further down that wall, and the lighting's not bad.
I see. And you've got the hang of the Portuguese shutter thing, have you? Because it's an art to be learned by expats, isn't it?
I think I probably have, actually. Yeah.
Right, good. And more generally, so how are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, as I said, just kind of surfacing. Normally, I'm up sort of between 5:30 and 6:30, but I woke up at 8 this morning. So yeah,
must have needed it, as they say, right?
Yeah, probably. Up late watching rubbish on Netflix last night. So.
Oh, I see. Is that the name of a new mini-series, Rubbish, or is that just a description of the stuff you're watching?
It's about rubbish number 274, probably, I guess.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people. I think Netflix it's gone through the curve, hasn't it? Of like, wow, this is the most amazing thing. It's so much better than having to go to the shop to get a VHS and spend 20 quid on snacks and popcorn inside Blockbusters or whatever it was called. And then they spared you that, didn't they? Because in the early days, the business model was sending them to you in the post when it became a DVD. But then, of course, now streaming, and we're so spoiled, aren't we? We've got all these things we can stream. It's like, there's only 3,000 things on Netflix, and they're all rubbish. I mean, that's where we've got to, isn't it?
Yeah, and I actually found a couple of Blockbusters DVDs that I'd inadvertently forgotten to send back when we were packing up to move.
Doc, it's people like you who brought them down, then, isn't it?
Terrible. I hold my hands up. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa.
The man who brought down in case you're wondering, the man who brought down Blockbuster and kept people waiting. As I saw you in the green room, I was thinking, it must have been a position you were in many times. What's it like being a doctor, knowing that there's a massive queue of people outside who want to see you?
Well, I always took the. You see, you absolutely cannot legislate for how long people need.
Sure.
Yeah. So I understand people who complain, oh, I had an appointment at 9:30. It's now 9:34 and he hasn't seen me yet. Well, all right. If that's your biggest problem that day, then you're a very lucky person. But I also understand the people who complain. So I told the doctor all about my really painful hemorrhoids, and then having done that and got the referral sorted out, I wanted to tell him about my chest pain, but he said I could only have one problem each visit, and I'd have to go and book another appointment. Now that is also bonkers. It doesn't help the patient, but it doesn't help the doctor either. And actually, if you're going to be as efficient as possible, you deal with everything at one time. But that means you cannot stick to appointment times. So when people complained, I would tell them, you know very well that you will get the time that you need when you come through that door. And I will brook no interruption to your consultation. It will be your time. It will be as long as you need. And if you don't like this, because I'm now giving the same attention to someone else, you can go down the road and sign up with another doctor. I really don't mind.
Oh,
I will to the other doctor.
Nice one.
And actually, you know, I had people who would sit there for an hour and wait to see me. There must have been a reason for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I like it firm but fair, and actually a bit of a Portuguese prototype, you might say, because that's how it works here, isn't it? You have to wait, and when it's your turn, it's your turn. Mrs. M was in a Chinese shop getting a few extra decorations last night. Lady in front of her gets to the counter and realizes she's forgotten a few things. So she wanders off and carries on shopping. But it was her turn at the front of the counter. So everyone just has to wait while she does that. And that's just how it rolls here. Very good. So
some of us forget. Yeah, some of us, you know, forget that we bemoan the lack of personal service and personal interaction in shops where things are stacked high and you have to go and get them yourself with a basket, etc., etc. But I still just about remember going to, and it was the old hardware stores that were the last to change in the UK. Going to a hardware store with my old man and standing at a counter and waiting my turn, while the one person behind the counter got everything that the 3 or 4 people in front of us wanted in turn. And he'd go back to the back of the shop for something, he'd come back, what else do you want? He'd go back and he'd get it. And it would happen like that. But this was personal service and people got to talk to each other in queues. Now, I get it. Time has moved on. Life is so much faster, but thank God it's not got us for that fast as quickly in Portugal.
Indeed, well said. I mean, that's you can still have that experience, can't you, in Portugal, in a hardware shop or many other kinds of shops where you wait your turn and you're standing there, and it's a perfect chance for people of the community to chat with each other or avoid each other or however it is between them. stand uncomfortably with somebody they don't want to speak to. Great stuff. Yes, well said.
I hope they're vaccinated.
Yes, quietly thinking that. I was like, I bet he isn't. I bet he is. But anyway, one of the themes I thought we might look at today, and how I advertised the show, Doc, was given that you were here. Wednesday is always Ask Anything About Portugal, but we thought maybe, I use the collective we, ask anything about staying sane and well at Christmas. It seemed like good timing, but then I thought, are we really the people to talk about staying sane, you and me? But let's find it. Let's see. I'm not sure. We'll do one part of that. We'll do the well-being.
Learn from my mistakes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anything like that. I think we have our first inquiry in that's leaning on your doctorly skills this morning. This is something I think that got literally picked up in Spain. On a journey. Is there anything that can be done for this sort of thing, Doc? We're going to go for a visual with this. In a very modern way of doing doctoring, isn't it? Is to actually send a visual in rather than presenting oneself in the surgery. Anything that can be done for this? What do you think? No, sorry, you're on your own with that.
Yeah, very strange. All right.
These have been freshly dipped and are this is what you'll see. I mean, I don't think I'm being especially offensive here, because these are what you see apparently when you walk the streets of Seville.
This must be Caldas Terrena, surely.
No, they tend to be pottery, made of pottery. It's entirely
I know,
different.
but I was just wondering if the bakers thought they were losing out and thought they'd jump in.
Well, possibly inspired by Caldas there. The Sevillian, is that what we would call them? Sevillian? Sevillian, not just phallic baked goods, but both genders represented well, I would say. They're still hot and runny, I think, as well. Fresh from the whatever that stuff is.
I'd leave it there if I were you.
In short, there's nothing that can be done about that. Just don't go to Seville. Maybe. All right.
Or do if you're feeling deprived.
There are people booking train tickets as we speak, seeing that. Oh, okay. Let's see who else is here this morning. Viv's here. Viv, who started off this erotic novel thing. We've been collaborating with writing together in the comments an erotic novel. You'll see examples of this coming up, Doc. And you're a great writer and linguist, so I suspect you'll have some contributions to that. But Blue Sky's important.
A cunning linguist.
A cunning linguist, exactly. There you go, straight off the bat there. The working title of our first novel together is the collaboration Things That Go Gump in the Night. Blue Sky's there. Weather report, loving it, says Vivian, and Pippa as well, who's been sending in fantastic videos and images. Bon dia and good morning. Yeah, that's us. We've got to look at the new restrictions before we get too carried away and too jovial here. And we've got the whistling to play. I think I might do that. Just a quick weather report then from Rebel Mama. Frequently when they predict solid rain here, it is intermittent. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? This weather thing. We will do that as well. We will look at after the opening, as it were. We will come back with the restrictions. We'll be serious for a bit after the 9 o'clock theme tune, bit of weather, and then it's a free for all as usual after that. Okay, so see you.
You're going to rule us with a rod of iron, Carl.
I certainly will, and Doc's getting quite excited about that already. Okay, see you on the other side of this. I don't know about you, but I really like that little bit of punctuation there at 9 o'clock. So let's go straight to that weather now. Me and the doc will have a look at the weather. We can't see out of his window at the moment, but that looks a bit ominous, doesn't it? Those grey lines, graphics there. What's that all about? So Lisbon, foggy this morning, 63 the high, 55 the low, starting off there at the moment, 55 actually in Lisbon. So a foggy day in the capital, but more importantly, looking for Christmas. It's solid rain forecast. Porto, sunny day though suddenly in Porto. Enjoy that, folks, because the forecast is for rain thereafter for the rest of the week, with a high of 17 today, and temperatures around in Porto around the 14, 15, 16 sort of mark for the rest of the week. Coimbra, 18 degrees. That's amazing, isn't it, in December to think you could put an 18-degree day. A few clouds, a little bit of sun in Coimbra, 18 degrees the high. Faro, 16 degrees at the moment with broken clouds, 17 the high. Rain forecast for the rest of the week, same in Coimbra. And where did we get to yesterday? I think we must have got to, we did Guarda, we did Porto Alegre, Setúbal. Let's go to Viana do Castelo. Got lovely Christmas pictures from Viana do Castelo from Viv. Sunny, actually, and a clear sky at 14 degrees currently, going to 16, but still the same. Similar picture to look forward to, or not, of rain for the rest of the week and over the Christmas weekend. Villarreal as well. Then let's do Villarreal. Scattered clouds, 10 degrees, rising to 14 today, but same rain forecast for Christmas. So that's not necessarily going to be the case, but I don't know. I get the feeling it might be a little bit damp this Christmas. And whilst we're on the serious matters of news and weather, then, Doc, did you have a look at to see what the PM said last night about the new restrictions? Have you had a chance to respond to that, or should we go through it now?
I had a very quick look before I came online, but yeah, let's go through.
What did you make of it from a medical perspective? What do you think? Are they doing the right thing?
I'm concerned now that more of these actions are for political use rather than actually science-based, because short 1 week, whatever they want to call them, circuit breakers, they call them in the UK, they're not going to do very much. We haven't seen huge increases in hospitalization or the death rate, and certainly as far as I can see, some of the predictions of Omicron being a lower severity illness appear to be coming true. I'm still cautious about that.
Okay.
But a 1 week disruption is going to be only that. I don't think it's really going to do much, but it is going to be a disruption.
Okay, yes, and a delay of the inevitable then. I mean, because that's the way people are reading it, aren't they? I mean, the layman, or should I just own it and say what I'm thinking? This is what people do, isn't it? In the media, they want to share their own personal view, but they will say the man in the street or the layman or something like that. Or what do you say to people who think this and this is what they're thinking? What I'm hoping is that it is an infectious but mild end of the worst of the pandemic, of the viral effect. And to delay it doesn't really make much sense, apart from obviously this constant message. Of course, you don't want to overwhelm health services, but it doesn't look like there is much chance of that with the numbers the way they are. And you also, I think, and people become understandably suspicious when they see a prime minister pointing at quite a meaningless. What do you think? That's a cracker, isn't it? Is that meant to terrify or allay fears? Let's find out. But I'm wondering what that could possibly do.
I think an intern in his office has been playing with a new program and put the screen up by mistake.
Well, 15 minutes before the presentation, who can do PowerPoint? You, the new kid. Okay. Make a slide out of this. PM lays down measures for yet another COVID-blighted Christmas. Now, get out of here, Natasha Don, with your COVID-blighted Christmas. I understand what you're saying, but we're lighting up Christmas here, and we're not going to have this go deep into the heart and soul of what this holiday is all about. I mean, these are some of the restrictions and steps that have been taken, but let's not talk in that sort of language of blight and shut down, lockdown. Let's not do that. So I'll stop doing it immediately myself. Prime Minister Antonio Costa has laid out new measures this afternoon designed to stem the rising tide of COVID infections over Christmas. From midnight on Christmas Day, this is what Hank wanted to know. And for the next 2 weeks, at least, in brackets, remote working from home will once again become mandatory. Creches and tuition centres will be closed, and bars and discotheques, I like how they still use the word discotheque at the Portugal resident, will be forced to shut down. So it's not restaurants, Hank, thank goodness for that. And we'll find out if you need a test too for sitting outside a restaurant. Hopefully that will become clear in this article as well, because that Gilly was asking that earlier on. The requirement to present negative antigen tests, irrespective of vaccine status, will become much more commonplace. Oh, okay. So certainly in the hotels and the ALs, you're going to need a negative test, I think is what was being said here. So they'll become much more commonplace, covering any and all cultural and sporting events, as well as stays in hotels, touristic accommodation. Nothing about restaurants yet, though. A limit on capacity in shops and venues will be returning, ensuring there are 5 square meters to each person. Anyone loving their personal bubble will be glad to hear the return of the 5 square meter space around everybody. And once again, the dismal green image of a family around the Christmas table, potentially breathing out virus particles. Was used to impress on citizens the need to wear masks as much as possible. Tests too are to be heavily plugged. People are advised to self-test before all social gatherings outside the home. So a hell of a lot of testing. None of the movement restriction of last year, Doc. Do you remember last year? You couldn't move outside your municipality, could you?
I do remember. Yeah, we had a piece of paper to carry when we were taking Alicia to school.
Yes, okay, yeah, moving in and out of the boroughs, of course. So none of that this year, but a lot more testing. Seems to have been replaced by testing, doesn't it, as the thing to do. And on the days of December the 24th and 25th and December 30th, 31st and January the 1st, anyone going to a restaurant, casino or festive party must present a negative test for COVID, irrespective of vaccine status. Now, I don't know if that applies to being outside and if you would want to be outside, given the weather pattern I've just described to you, Gilly, but that's unclear as far as I can see. But I suspect some restaurants will be asking for a negative test, whether you're inside or outside, quite honestly, because they seem to be some places with the vaccine passport seem to be applying that outside as well, although I don't think that is the rule, strictly speaking. Rules over groups over New Year in the street have returned, limiting gatherings to 10 people. So you can't have more than a group of 10 in the street. And no alcohol Doc, this one's for you. No alcohol may be consumed in the public highway either.
No.
Sorry, mate. Kicker for Doc.
There's going to be a run on brown paper bags.
Yes, indeed, in the American style that we saw as kids. We couldn't understand it, could we? Meaning the tradition of taking a bottle of champagne outside. Oh, I see. So the champagne outside to pop your cork out in the street is a no-no. As the PM admitted, this still isn't a normal Christmas. In fact, it's Christmas almost identical to the one we had last year before the stellar vaccination rollout. Interesting. As for vaccinations, the booster jabs have been going into people's arms at lightning speed, and Mr. Costa predicts third dose boosters will be needed by everyone. For now, 83.5% of the population over the age of 65 has already received their boosters, and another 80,000 people are booked in to receive their boosters tomorrow. Mr. Costa stressed that the vaccination of children will also go a long way to helping cut down on transmission. So, okay, I think we could probably leave it there because there's not a lot more to say about the specific restrictions that might affect people. The rest of it is a bit of speculation and what he said, I think. Maybe one more thing. While financial support will be offered to bars and discos, okay, because this could likely kill the nighttime industry, couldn't it? Another one of these. The bottom line is that results of these new measures will be reviewed on January the 5th. So there you go. That's quite important. There'll be a review on January the 5th to see whether or not they should continue beyond January the 10th. This means the return of children to schools on January the 10th is still not certain. Oh, my goodness. Everything is dependent on the epidemiological situation of the country in 2 weeks' time. So my big question to you then, Doc, with that, do you think the Portuguese government's measuring of the epidemiological situation is good and useful? Are they doing it in the right way? Or are they, as you suspect, like other governments around the world, using this for other agenda?
I think, we're moving into a situation, as I said, where, I fully accept the need to use masks indoors. And I fully accept the push for vaccinations. I'm double vaccinated. I wish they'd open up boosters for those under 65. I'm waiting for that. But expecting people to get tests before they go into a restaurant, it just going to mean that there is eventually going to be people are going to run out of testing kits. America's just snapped up 500 million of these, and probably 500 million tests, if I read that right, that Biden has ordered so that people can get themselves tested as and when necessary in America. But in the UK, they've been running out of lateral flow kits. So I suspect it won't be long before Portugal starts to run out of lateral flow kits, driven entirely by the need to have a negative test before you go into a restaurant. Now, expecting people or asking people who are at least double vaccinated to do that, in my mind, to my mind, is unnecessary. I know that the vaccine is not as effective against Omicron, but the fact is, as I've said before, Omicron is not showing itself to be being a serious illness, and every day that goes on without the rise in hospitalization and death rate that you'd expect if that was not the case, goes to reinforce that picture. And I think having been bitten last winter, in terms of acting too late or getting the combination of measures wrong, many governments are now trying to the pendulum swung in the other direction. And I'm not saying this is easy for governments, but I do think they're wrong. There's a virologist in Lisbon who feels that that Omicron, we're very well placed in Portugal to head off Omicron and to stop there being an overwhelming of health services, without these some of these newer measures, which to me are just playing to the public, I think.
What by that you mean not wanting to look bad? The government has got to strike a right balance of not being too draconian, but not looking like they don't care. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, and I mean Portugal has done well in managing the pandemic generally from start to now.
Yeah.
But over these moves threaten the supply of testing kits, which will then mean there will come a point where people who really ought to be being tested or need tests in order to go to things that need to be done cannot be tested.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Doc, because we are going into what it would seem is a testing culture. Like every time you go out almost, and the government in Portugal set it up, haven't they? So you can go to over 1,000 places. I think nearly 1,500 places around Portugal. Do check that. Don't take that as a given there. But you can go and get a free test in so many places, and people aren't they? People want to know, and they're kind of building their movements around that. So obviously that's going to create, as you said, as you pointed out there, a massive demand on those test kits. And Portugal's not the only country doing that. So we're going to testing all around the world, and there's going to be a bit of a pinch on the testing kits. And some rascals making a hell of a lot of money again with the production of testing kits, right? So some folks doing very well.
Probably somewhat around, but probably being put together around the kitchen table of some UK government minister's mistress.
Now. Okay, so not enough of this. I think it's right that we went into that and chatted about it. I'll not go too much into the dark side. I mean, Viv, you're absolutely right. The love virus is so important. Let's make that the dominant strain. And still, Doc, after these 22 months, so little being done on the upside, on the preventative side, on the positive and dynamic approach to taking responsibility for one's health. So little of that. And I saw a really clever comment on Twitter, where you do find the occasional clever comment among the darkness. Here we are, a society constantly focused on illness and disease. We're not very balanced, are we, at the moment? And so that's what I was hoping to do this morning is what can we do on the upside, on the positive side, to have a sane and healthy Christmas? And who better than you to talk to us about that? And for our whole community here to reorientate a little bit that way. Some of the, I was up in my vitamin D intake yesterday. We pressed a load of beetroot juice and pomegranate juice, and we had a load of citrus. Time of year, isn't it, where you can take in a lot of vitamin C because of all the great orange harvest of Portugal. But there's no talk of this, is there? It's like an occult thing. People taking care quietly and secretly of their health behind closed doors, when all the talk in the media is about the gloom and doom of this thing that's trying to kill you. What happened to us?
I don't know. I mean, I think generally, Portugal is a healthy society. It's a much more healthy society than many from which many of our listeners have either come or are still living in. And I think because it is the norm, people tend to talk about the when things that are against the norm. So I think this period within Portuguese life is so at odds with what's normal. The effect of illness, the social effect of the measures against it, the economic effect of the measures against it is so at odds with normal Portuguese society, much more so, than some of the other societies we have come from, where I'm not saying it's massively different, but if you could plot that on a line, yes. Portugal, it's much more different to normal Portuguese everyday life than it is different from normal UK everyday life.
That hadn't occurred to me. Good point, sir. Very good. Let's see what everyone else is saying about this, because I'm sure they will be. And your tips, folks. What are you doing? I don't want to pry too much into your personal life any more than absolutely necessary. It's your business, your life. But if you care to share on the positive, dynamic and preventative measures you're taking to keep yourself well and healthy on a physical level and an emotional and a spiritual level, we'd love to hear that. I certainly would. So another spin-off here from the Gumper community. Hugh Thunderstorm co-stars with Ban Hammer in the new action film Die Now and Die Later, which sounds a bit too pandemic for my liking. We need to reframe on that title, I think, James. But yeah, I get your point there. We have got so many franchises that are emanating from this community. I mean, here in our neck of the woods, I live 40 minutes directly east of you, Sergio, in the mountains. And this is Rebel Mama talking to Viv about the weather. I think there are so many microclimates in the Peneda Gerês there, aren't there? But let's put it into perspective with this incredible picture that you sent in, Rebel Mama. I'll share the picture of your fantastic family in the next couple of days, because I think we're going to have more family greetings and so on. But for today, this fantastic picture you've sent in of this horse that's turned up near your manor this morning. Isn't that lovely? The clouds you're talking about, the blue sky, and a wild horse in the Peneda Gerês. That is a beautiful picture. That feels festive and Christmassy to me, even without snow. A little bit of frost possibly on those plants in the foreground there. Thank you so much for that, Rebel Mum. That's beautiful. Don't forget, folks, you must visit the Peneda Gerês when you get a chance. Really superb part of Portugal. And Deborah, well, funnily enough, I'm not sure if we can keep that up. If this is a hairless cat-free zone, I'll stay. I have got an update on the lady who was nursing a hairless cat on a Delta Airlines flight, I think last week, which caused some concern to her fellow passengers and obviously the cabin crew who were trying to take care of her and the cat. So I've got a little video to show you about that, how that all turned out. Did you hear about that, Doc?
I didn't, no.
Okay, well, all will be revealed in a little while. Because we were laughing. Mrs. M likened the hairless cat to a certain part of the male anatomy, to the touch. And she couldn't talk for, I don't know, about 5 minutes. She was just reduced to a heap of giggling female skittishness. There's probably a better description of it than that, but she was gone. And every time thereafter a hairless cat was mentioned or she thought about that image again, and was employing her sensory memory, she's just gone again. But we have got some resolution. And then we felt a bit bad because clearly a woman nursing a hairless cat on a plane may have some issues or difficulties. So we did feel a little bit bad about laughing about the situation. But hopefully the video that I show will bring another dimension to that entire story. I'll call it a story for now, but there's something quite serious going on there. Clearly, be kind whenever possible. Hashtag kindness. Going back to that Dalai Lama, it's always possible. It is. We can find that kindness in any situation, of course. Thank you, James, for being. These are kindness monitor, really. Carl, ask Capricorn why they have life jackets on planes for water landing, but no goggles to help one see in the water. Okay, I think he's probably seen that and might come back to it. It's probably Carl. In fact, don't give Ryanair ideas because they'll be selling goggles on the plane.
Yeah, €6 for a goggle for the sale of goggles.
Just in case. Rains 200 days here in Northern Ireland. Continues Deagle. We want what you got, sun, and you want what we have, rain. True. There are certain times when we're begging for rain. This isn't one of them. Thunder says, my wife gave me a haircut and now she's making Christmas dinner with all the trimmings. Hey! Oh, dear. Yes. Everyone foregoing an invitation round to the ducks for Christmas there. That's a good one. I really like what the Buddha said. Let go or be dragged. That was the Buddha, wasn't it? I think. Well done, Hank. Thank you for that. 3 more sleeps. Gary's getting excited and he thinks we should show the elf video. That's a Christmas Eve thing, Gary. I've downloaded it. We'll be showing that on Christmas Eve along with our final picture and video. You'll light up Christmas pickies and videos. That will be the 3rd video I'll be making this week and showing that on Christmas Eve alongside your excellent video with many of the Good Morning Portugal team like you've never seen them before. Abu's here. Assalamu alaikum. Bon dia to Carl and Doc from Abu this morning as well. Pedro, bon dia, Doc. How are you? I think we've covered that, haven't we? He's had a little bit of a lie-in this morning, Pedro. You must have needed it. Difficult when you have to ask the driver to pick you up very early in the morning. As in Portuguese, it'll be Amana de manhã. I repeat it always many times just to be sure. Okay, very good. That's one worth knowing, isn't it? Amana de manhã. Bon dia from Pam Smith this morning. Good morning to you, Pam. How are you and Tony? By the way, Carl, love the great Christmas chicken. Cool, thank you very much. Thank you for noticing. That's very good of you. And a question. What was your kid's Santa present request, Carl? Well, the usual, quite predictable, actually. From my point of view, I'd have been quite happy to give them a tangerine, a piece of coal. And what's the other thing? You give them a sixpence, is it?
Sixpence, yeah.
Sixpence. They want things like computer games. You know, they've got a Nintendo Switch. And they want they change their minds as well, don't they? They really set on something, and then next day they've seen something else on YouTube or the internet, and they want something different. So it's very futuristic and progressive. It's in the gaming department, generally speaking, for these guys here, and not much in the tangerine, piece of coal, and sixpence department, which I'll be very happy with as well myself. Hola, Doc from Francis. What's that, Doc?
It's an inflation.
It's inflation, isn't it? Yeah, because I suppose the modern equivalent of coal is the semiconductor, isn't it? Because you used to be able to make a radio out of
There's the battery wall.
the modern equivalent of a sixpence and a piece of coal. Hola, Doc. And with that, I'm off. Great to see you all. Oh, nothing personal, I hope, and meet all of you in 2022, I think he means to say that, right? It's definitely been one of the positives of this year. Ciao for now. Hello from Francis. Have a great Christmas, mate. OLP from Rebel. That's not a chicken. It's the famous rooster of Barcelos up here in the north. Google it. We will have to. It's what?
St. Chicholas with that.
St. Chicholas. Very good. Very good. Yeah, it is. I mean, to call it a chicken is a bit of an understatement. It has to be said culturally here. And we'll probably have to return to the story of the Barcelos cockerel. Actually, do you know what? We've got Vitor, our man in the north, tomorrow. So maybe we can get in with some cocky talk tomorrow. Even though this will be a different Christmas for me, not able to go and meet my daughter in the USA. Stop it, Doc. I do wish you all a Merry Christmas in this Lusitania country. Lusitan? Lusitan, that's a good adjective, isn't it? And even better 2022. Thanks, Laura P, for that. And presumably You'll be Zooming like so many people. Oh, yes, I must tell you about our schedule as well, talking about Christmas meetups and off the opening hours. I'll be working from home. What do you call a group of chess grandmasters bragging about their games in a hotel lobby? Chestnuts boasting in an open foyer. Wow, that's good, isn't it? Actually, Doc,
It's
that is
very
good.
good. Very
It
good.
should have been sung, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I was
Chestnuts
waiting for you to do
boasting in
that.
an open foyer. That is very, very good. Top dad joke award going this morning to Thunderdog. I think Gary's got one for us. Could you reassert your dad joke, please, Gary? Because I may have scrolled past it. Doc, do you remember the days when you just turned up at the surgery, when you weren't sick by appointment? I'm old enough to remember those days. Those joyful days of a packed waiting room, everyone coughing over each other.
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
When I started as a GP, the guy I went into partnership with, he was the last surgery in Handsworth, or probably in the UK, who didn't operate an appointment system, and it was so much better. It really was.
Just come one, come all. Because you can't just like you can't hurry love, you can't put a date timestamp on it being ill, can you? Oh my goodness! So there you go, you two, Capricorn 12 on the dock. Have a nice little reminisce there about when you could just turn up. What is the difference between the Christmas? Oh, here we go. They're coming in thick and fast now. What's the difference between the Christmas alphabet and the ordinary alphabet? The Christmas alphabet has no L. No L. No L.
Thunderducks opened his present, which was a book of Christmas jokes. Obviously,
I think so. I think that's what's happened here. Wholeheartedly agree, says Pippa. Becoming a gumper has been a highlight of the year. Oh, that's really nice, Pippa. Thank you for saying that. Oh, here we go. What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Hey, frostbite, of course. Oh dear, oh dear. These, what is it? These cakes are so funny. What is that? Is that a punchline? I think. Or these jokes are so funny. I thought that was going to be what do clowns taste like? They taste funny. But that's, I don't know. That wasn't a joke. That was a comment about what's coming. And then here's another one. What do you get if you cross an octopus with a turkey, a leg each for Christmas dinner? That's quite a good Portuguese joke, isn't it? Polvo related. Very good. That's the quality content we were all waiting for. Absolutely. We can leave it there probably, can't we? But we will go on for another half hour because we haven't talked about how to stay sane. Although, having said that, this is part of staying sane and well, isn't it? A few jokes. As our hero. We're back to the erotic novel. So this is what we're doing, Doc. I have to read these in a certain voice. Okay. Feel free to add. As our hero emerged from the log cabin into the bright morning light, his head filled with alcohol misty memories. Could be Doc. He looked back through the frosty window at the figure, exhausted and serene, lying on the bed, and he couldn't help but think that last night may have been a mistake. We've all been there, Gary. We've all been there. I think there's more to come. There's more to come. Stand by, everybody.
As the actress said to the bishop.
Yes, indeed. Well, I have to go back because I had a booster appointment and had to leave. I think I got the time wrong. Okay. This is life at a Portuguese doctor's or medical centre from Rebel Mama. This was great because she was using her Portuguese to book the appointment. Let's find out what happened. I think I got the time wrong. I was there at 10:15 and left at 12:30 without seeing anyone. I sometimes confuse them. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but that is a long time to wait for an appointment you didn't have. Did no one think to come up and ask you? Equal opportunity baked goods. Going back to Seville for a moment, absolutely right. It's good to see both genitalia represented.
Absolutely.
At the Master Bakers. Very good, Francis. I couldn't help myself. You're very welcome. We're really behind with the comments, clearly. Sevilianos, why did the snowman drop his... Oh, no, Dag, I can't read that, can I? Okay, read that for yourselves. Okay, why did the snowman... Okay, this is for anyone traveling in their car. This is a position parents need to be in as a test of their parenting skills. When the bloke on the radio reads out a joke like this: why did the snowman drop his pants? He heard the snowblower was coming by. Okay, and then the kids say to you, "Daddy, why are you laughing? What is?" You have to explain or not, as the case may be. I know, we'll just move on. Well, what's that over there? It's two dogs having it off. Oh, no, not over there. Sevilianos is the name of the civilians. Oh, Doc, we need to talk. Oh, Okay. Do you want to do that in this forum, Vivian? Please, the doctor will see you now. I can, if you want. Yes, I can put him on the screen on his own. If you want to do it like that, we can do that. Okay. So Viv, say more if you wish, and I'll just step out, and everyone else will close their ears for a moment. Thanks for asking, Pippa. Says Rebel Mama. I wait till the new year and go in person to make the appointment. Ask the girl. Podeme escrever, so I have the right. Write it down for me if you will. Very good. Podeme escrever. Very good. Still. So do I have to do this in the voice, Gary? Still, he always got on well with Jeff from accounting. That's the punchline from that bit. Oh, yeah. There's no big deal, all grown-ups here. Put that behind us. I believe a riot of gumpers is appropriate. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, James. The paperback rioters. Why was the snowman thrown out of the grocery store? Because he was picking his nose. Thank you, Gary. Gary also got the same book as Thunder, didn't he? Morning all. Hopefully restrictions on bars and restaurants are temporary in Portugal. Worried about our forthcoming trip in February. Well, if you've done what you need to do to fly here, you've pretty much got what you need to do to go into a restaurant. Isn't that right, Doc? Would you agree?
Well, how recent does the test have to be to go into the restaurant?
Oh, I see. God. Dear, oh dear.
I mean, seriously, how recent does it have to be? Does it have to be the last 24 hours, the last 48 hours, maybe the last 72 hours?
Yeah. So one from 19, something from 1982 is not going to cut it. So
probably not.
Okay. All right. Happy times. I never have guessed this was going to happen in 1982, would we? So I'm not sure what we can do for your concern there, Coach Turner. But I would say it would be fairly closely matched to the requirements of your flying. But the longer your holiday goes on, the less likely that test might be valuable in the process there. James wants to see the wrapping paper from yesterday. So for your benefit as well as others who weren't here yesterday, this is the wrapping paper for Grandma, possibly. This is what can happen, Doc, if you use Let It Snow wrapping paper. Look at your camera's bouncing around as you laugh. I love it. So, still time, everybody, to go out and buy Let It Snow wrapping paper. And if you can't find it, just get a stencil kit out and make your own. Hold on, what's this? What's Santa's favourite music? Rap! Very good, Gary! This should be turned into a tour of Portugal. But make sure you've got enough tests with you for each venue you go into. Ian from Rebel Mama, folks here are really good at following the restrictions for everyone's sake, unlike other places. Don't worry, is the message from Rebel Mama. Still haven't done much staying well, staying sane at Christmas.
Well, I think we are doing the same stuff because jokes are really important.
They are, aren't they?
Jokes are so important. Staying in touch with friends is so important. And like you said before, not sweating the small stuff, which all of that is important in terms of staying sane. If you forgot to buy the battery for your kid's present, you forgot to buy the battery for your kid's present. There's no point getting upset about it. Distract them and go and buy one when the shops are open.
Or give them coal. If there's no battery required.
Give them coal and a 20 euro cents piece. Absolutely.
Exactly. Don't underpay them, do they? So that's not the problem. More that the bars will be closed. Oh yes. Okay. Now we know. Now we know why he's worried. He's worried he's not going to get a drink. Okay.
Oh, you can buy plenty of Superboc in the supermarket. So.
Well, there is that, but Coach, this is about. This is not covering restaurants. This is late night bars and discos that are being shut down. This is what's happening, as though it were a collective plan around the Western world. The bars and discos are feeling the worst of it. So restaurants, not a problem, as I suspect, and that will remain the case, because that will be a savage blow to Portuguese culture, wouldn't it? To be having a actually, I can't remember now. Did restaurants and cafes close for a little while earlier on in the pandemic? Or did
they did for a very early on for a short time.
In the first part of the lockdown.
Yeah, and then they had to close at 10 when they reopened. They had to close at 10, didn't they? Or
yes, that's right. Oh my goodness. Okay, I forget, honestly. It's been going on so long, and this is the thing.
In the dim and distant past of the early pandemic.
Good old days of the pandemic. Yeah, it's weird. Drop the Dead Donkey, the comedy show from the 90s. That was great stuff, wasn't it? The scenes of devastation. That sounds like it needs dusting down and watching. Send compassion vibes to Carl, Doc, and everyone. Thank you very much, Abu. And right back at you, igualmente. Love, compassion, kindness all around the world. We are hoping that we are the Wuhan equivalent of starting the love virus. It's traced back to the Good Morning Portugal show. Not that that was necessarily what happened, but, figuratively speaking, oops. But all places with any type of food, including bakeries, have alcohol. So, okay, coming to feeling the concern here. Rebel Mama responding, you can drink even if bars are closed in most places in Portugal. Petrol stations included.
Well, yeah, but the petrol stations stopped serving alcohol at one point, didn't they? Even though they were serving petrol, and unleaded doesn't taste the same as Superbook.
I know, and so we don't recommend it, Coach. Don't go there. It's not worth it. Just for that short-term pleasure, it's not worth.
And the other thing, Carl, the other thing is, when does drinking alcohol on a rusty chair outside a petrol station, which is clearly put there for the purpose, turn into drinking in the street? Where's the line? The
threshold, the overlap. There's so many grey areas, aren't there? And where should you put out your cigarette? This is another concern.
On the pump, or clearly on that metal bit, above the nozzle.
It does happen, doesn't it? It really does. But you're going to need to you're going to probably be able to buy your booze at the petrol station, but you got to take it with you. You can't sit on one of the rusty chairs, as Doc is talking about, have a smoke, live life dangerously. That's off the agenda, I think, in the early months of next year.
2 weeks, absolutely.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Damn, I just got my first traditional kiss on both cheeks. First of the season or first ever? I'm sorry to hear that it took so long. I guess that will also stop. He was young and cute too. I'm so sorry to hear that, Rebel Mama. I guess, or you do it through the masks. You rub masks on both cheeks or something like that. I'm not suggesting that for one moment. I don't want to get myself in that kind of trouble. Good morning, everyone from No. Fantastic. I've got some wonderful Guess Who It Is picks. I think I'm going to do those tomorrow. I will say no more for the time being. Go on, Doc.
Just back to the kiss on both cheeks. One of my abiding memories from very early on, when we got here, when people had started wearing masks, was two old people who approached each other on the pavement, both dropped their masks, gave each other a kiss on both cheeks, and put the masks back up again.
Hey! So, okay. And you still have 2 days, I think, before that restriction comes in. So get out there, Rebel Mama, and find more cuties on the street. Yeah. I can't see anyone stopping the Portuguese family Christmas, if we're honest. Absolutely right, Gary. Jersey Peace here, everybody. Hola, bon dia, Carl, Yandy. Hola, bon dia, Toros. And Michelle, of course, in from Australia. Would be brilliant to see again. Yeah, Drop the Dead Donkey. Very good. If you're not familiar with that comedy, you can apparently look at this. Fantastic. Prof is telling us you can stream Drop the Dead Donkey on, what is this? All for free. A11. A114. That's not a very catchy name for a TV streaming service, is it? All for free. There you go. More tests, more cases. It has to be said, and it's absolutely true. It's what's going to happen. Doc, I got called from my booster last week and had it. I'm 64. Yes. What? Hold on a minute.
Lucky you.
But how did Rebel Mama manage to turn that into a political comment at the end of the sentence there? She managed to get in her age a political kick in the nuts for the US. And an update on her medical status, all in one brief sentence there. Very good.
I want to know how she jumped the queue for the under 65s.
Get in touch with the doc after the show. That's correct. Biden will be sending tests to literally everyone for free. Yes, incredible. Buy shares now in test kits. It's not true that viruses become less virulent as they. Oh, is it not true that viruses become? This is what
generally. That is the trend generally, because it's kind of a natural selection process. The most effective viruses are those that don't kill their host straight away before they've had a chance to pass it on. It's a symbiotic relationship. They are, after all, parasites. They can't survive. They can't replicate without us. So it is a form of parasitic relationship. They have to have a healthy host in order to operate.
A bit like politics, right? I'm going to make the point here, Doc, and this is and actually we haven't really talked very much about politics this morning. Have you been getting emails warning you off this sort of thing? You've been very restrained this morning.
Well, I mean, I could, we could talk about whether or not these new rules will apply to the political class or those down in Lisbon, whether they'll be having parties on terraces and being filmed through windows, having parties, which is what happens in the UK, even during lockdown, apparently. And it's okay because they discuss work for 30 seconds before they get pissed.
Yes.
There they are.
Floodgates opened a little bit there. The water is the political water is beginning to surge through. But it just suddenly occurred to me while Thunderduck was saying that. And then you responded by saying the virus has to have a host and it has to be careful not to kill its host because it doesn't have somewhere to live. This is also true of politicians, and it's something perhaps politicians should remember, is that their livelihoods are based on their host, and the host of a politician is the public, is it not?
Yeah,
and
bourgeois politicians are effectively parasites, yeah.
Yes, and it would make sense, wouldn't it, for politicians around the world to remember that their livelihoods and their futures depend on the host upon which they are resident, from where they get their income and their livelihood and their fame and all the rest of it, the whole package that goes with being a politician. And I think this is a good and real point, because it would appear old school politicians of both sides of the chamber actually thought, well, we shouldn't kill the host. You can't push people so far that they don't take anything you say seriously or hold you in utter contempt. We need to strike a balance here. We either need a light touch, which would be the blue side of the chamber, and the other way around if you're in America, or we need to look after people well, which would be the red side or the blue in America. But do that in such a way that people feel like they're being respected. And that is not the case, I think, increasingly around the world at the moment.
Yeah, it's where the analogy breaks down, isn't it? Because it's entirely the reverse of what is happening.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. The host is being killed. Yeah. Okay, on a more cheerful note, smash the like button. We were going off on one there. Baltic Carl Doc and all you watching gumpers, smash that like button. Have a great day, folks. From William. Good morning to you, William. And actually, we're going back there now.
Yeah.
Pandemic consigns nearly 250,000 more Portuguese into poverty. What's to be done about this, Doc? I mean, you're a keen political observer and commentator. At some point, we have to balance these things, don't we? We can't just keep putting restrictions into society that hurt people in this way. Where is the political will? Where is the political imagination, political ideas to stop this happening? Because this is just going to hurt so much. Obviously those individual people, but also the whole country as that bites harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal is a country with so much potential, and the problem is that, like many other countries with lots of potential, they are stopped from utilizing that potential by the policies of advanced capitalism to which they have signed up. It's not just Portugal, is it? It's Greece and it's Ireland and it's parts of Spain and Italy. And until people realize that, then nothing's going to change, because you've got bankers who have stolen lots and lots of public money, who can post bail of 4 million euros or 6 million euros or whatever it is. You have rulers of countries paying, what was that divorce settlement? 500 million?
Yes, the highest
500 million?
Yeah.
And that's only one of his wives. You know, I mean, come on. You know, when are people going to wake up to the obscene level of exploitation that they have willingly submitted themselves to?
Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, and what on these other, because again, I'm not quite there with you in terms of, you know, making, like, penalizing the rich is not necessarily making. I mean, on the surface, it makes life for the poor better, but I don't think it's a sustainable model. We've got to.
Carl, it's a zero-sum game. It's a zero-sum game. It has to be a zero-sum game. We have a finite level of resources. We have a finite amount of time in the day. There is only so much that can be done. There is a pot of which if everyone had their fair share, then people would be comfortable. People would not be in relative poverty.
No question about that.
The only way to let everyone have their fair share is to stop the bastards who are taking millions times their fair share.
Millions. No, I get it.
So you have to penalise the rich. There's no other way. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and ask them to think about it and willingly hand over billions of dollars? What was it? Musk just sold how many $1 billion worth of Tesla shares in order to pay his tax bill?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, I get what you're saying technically, theoretically, but I can't see how that would work apart from installing a new political system that would eventually degenerate into the one we've got. You know, that's the cycle we're in. I suspect, and you know, to bring us back. Yeah, to bring us back to our overarching theme of staying well and healthy this morning. No, I mean, I'm not trying to shut you down. Don't get me wrong.
It's all right. I can do it another time. It's no problem.
No, and we will. We know we will, don't we? But in terms of staying sane and well, one of the points we might make this morning, it's not about money, is it? And I know it. We know it helps, and you know, I wouldn't dare give the platitude that it's not about money to the 230,000 Portuguese people who are going into poverty. It's definitely about money when you don't have any. But there is also, in the context of discussing a new system, we have to get beyond money, don't we? We have to look at structural matters as well, so that we haven't got a system where just the money seems to be going like iron filings to the biggest magnets. Yeah. You know, we need a different context, don't we? In which you talk about this is what's so interesting to me. You talk about the Portuguese potential and how it's so possible if you look at it and consider it and imagine it, that people could live so freely, beautifully, fruitfully in Portugal. It's just so perfect in that respect, isn't it? Of looking at what's possible in terms of growing food, in terms of the climate, in terms of how people live together, in terms of the history and the culture and the soul and psyche of this country. The conditions are so perfect for people living together in a beautiful, harmonious, fruitful, and healthy way. It's like textbook stuff, isn't it? If you were to make a checklist of what do human beings need to live a great life, it's all here. But it's that thing. We come back to that thing, don't we? It's like it's all there, but it's not evenly distributed yet. That's the challenge of us, isn't it? And you know, we're saying the same thing. Effectively, it's about the distribution, and then it's that long grass and that fog, isn't it? That political fog. And what is it that's going against that happening? And Thunder makes a great point. It's a great addition to the conversation. It's like, okay, well, we clearly haven't got something right here because this is happening. You know, we need to be able to safeguard national public health in terms of the pandemic, but not at the cost of more people going into poverty. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure there is an alternative, although I'm struggling to come up with it as a particular well-defined manifesto right now. But it's not beyond. If we can write an erotic novel together, I suspect we can put a political manifesto together as well.
Yeah, and you know, there has to come a point at which people realise that actually, if we want to still be able to do things like write erotic novels or access streaming services or afford healthcare or housing or food, then there has to come a point at which writing that manifesto becomes a priority. And that doesn't mean a few political commentators like me sitting down writing a manifesto. It means people coming together and getting engaged in politics and not leaving it up to politicians. I mean, I could be a politician. I don't want to be a politician as such, but what I can do is very clearly state that politics is too important to be left to politicians.
Well said. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. Yes, well, we look super good where I live too in terms of vaccinations and health services. We're going to be super careful though, so we can get on a plane in the next week. We're projecting a million cases a day in the US at the peak. Yeah, but we have to be careful with that, don't we? Cases, hopefully it is a very mild form of the virus. It's virulent and contagious, but not very harmful. We have to get all of these things into perspective, don't we? We were very lucky last week to get in the UK to get our lateral flow test from Lloyd's Pharmacy just before they ran out. The South African doctor who discovered the variant has stated not to overreact. Yes, indeed. Again, Thunder's saying more tests, more cases, I think, rather than more cares. Yeah. But that's also true. We have several hospitals around the country collapsing just with Delta. But there's a political background to that, isn't there, Doc, as well? Hospitals don't need to collapse if they're correctly funded as well. This is what's being said in the UK, isn't it? Oh, you're going to collapse the health system. Well, it's being systematically collapsed from behind the scenes for the last 25 years anyway.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Hola, bon dia, alegria from Mark. Doc, have you been watching John Campbell on YouTube? He's been an amazing commentator throughout this, level-headed and interesting. John Campbell on YouTube with his focus on zinc and vitamin D. Have you seen him?
I haven't, but I will look him up.
One for the watch list. Why do we have high infection numbers while at the same time such a high percentage of vaccinated people? Because vaxxed and recovered people do not test and don't feel symptoms. So that has been a massive disappointment, has it not, Doc, from on the vaccination side, as it were, that there's this whole thing, just 2 weeks to flatten the curve, just get the first jab and it'll be fine, just get the second jab and it'll be fine, third booster, fourth booster, blah, 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 lockdown, fire break, and it'll all be fine. That's not the case, it would appear. And how generally speaking, have the medical, I don't know if you can make a generalization of this kind, but in terms of the vaccination, we're going to sort it out. How is it that it's been, is the medical establishment en masse viewing this as a disappointment, that it hasn't been as effective as everyone had hoped?
I don't think so. So there are a number of things to remember. First of all, this vaccine was developed exceptionally quickly. It needed to be, but by its very nature, in that case, it was there was always the potential for it not to be as effective as other vaccines that we're used to. Secondly, we have to remember that other vaccines are not 100% effective. It relies on herd immunity from vaccination. So you have to get to a certain percentage of the herd to have been vaccinated or to have got natural immunity in order to be able to arrest the transmission of any particular virus. We don't know actually how many other vaccines completely prevent infection, or whether they merely minimize the outcome of infection, because we don't test for those illnesses. We know that we no longer get people pitching up with diphtheria or tetanus or the symptoms of it, but that doesn't mean they're not, necessarily that they're not being infected. So we are, the mass testing is revealing the rate of infection. The huge level of testing now clearly is skewing the reported case numbers. The reported case numbers now are much higher than they were in that first huge wave. Not because there are more people being infected, but because there are more people being tested. Vaccinated people are getting tested because there is a requirement to get tested for all sorts of reasons. So that's happening. And what people must not lose sight of is that the vast majority of people in hospital with COVID are the unvaccinated, even though the vast majority.
Is that true?
The vast majority of people in hospital are the unvaccinated. Okay. Particularly in the under 35s, and that was something which was reported a couple of days ago. So the vast majority of people in hospital with COVID under the age of 35 are unvaccinated, even though the vast majority of all age groups now, except the very young, are vaccinated. So clearly, the vaccine does work. It does reduce the severity. It does reduce the transmission. It just doesn't completely abolish it. And the huge amount of testing that we're doing now is what is skewing the case numbers and frightening people.
Okay, we could clearly go on for another hour here with the conversational threads that we have unleashed here. There are so many brilliant questions and observations, but we've got to go soon, having stirred all of that up. Doc, does vaccinating during a pandemic really help, or does it promote antibody-dependent enhancement? That's probably too big a question to go into, but it is a good one to be putting. Natalie says, isn't one of the reasons we're still having so many variants because we have so many unvaccinated? If we had 100% vaccinated, I think we would be having a more festive season. Putting that out there as well. Suze, Carl, you're a terrific multitasker, being able to listen to your guest and track posts and WhatsApp at the same time. Quite the skill. Well, only just this morning, I have to say, because we're not going to get through all the comments. We're not going to get through all the photos I've wanted to share, but we've got tomorrow. We've always got tomorrow. And maybe that's the Gumper slogan, our motto in Latin. We've always got tomorrow, except when we haven't, but except on Saturdays and Sundays. But that doesn't sound so good in Latin. I cancelled my Christmas trip to the US. Didn't want to bring my 84-year-old mum an unwanted gift. I'll miss my family, but hopefully see them in March. In the UK, they also threatened to sack the non-jabbed in the NHS. Yeah, bonkers. And your comments about, or your political comments were, Jess was saying that's exactly what's going on. I can't find it now, but that's exactly what's going on in the United States. Let's see. Merry Christmas, or whatever you're celebrating, and Happy New Year to all, in case we won't read each other again before those festive events. Thank you, Matty, for that. I avoid the news. Anything important enough will find me. Head in sand for sanity's sake. Okay, well, there's a sanity tip. I'm not leaving the planet to anyone, but people I care about have kids and grandkids. So upset all the same for those people. And thank you for that, Suze. Check out the Venus Project. Oh, so here's a solution. Check out the Venus Project for at least one possible alternative to a consumer money system. I remember looking at that. Yeah, it's about sustainable systems. Very, very progressive. Very interesting. I think, yeah, very worth a look. And thank you for the mention of that. The Venus Project, everyone. Yeah, the doc is describing just how things work here in the US. Unfortunately, it's the rich bees that own the politicians, so things not likely to change soon, if ever. Oh, come on, we can do this. We can't go on like this, can we, Jess? I mean, let's face it. I know that sounds like revolutionary talk, but surely we cannot resign and consign ourselves to things not changing soon, if ever. Please, no, that's not why I moved to Portugal, for one thing. How did Scrooge score the winning goal in the Christmas football final? Because the Christmas passed. Oh, my word. Ouch. There is a lot of homelessness in Portugal, especially in towns and cities. And this is something we need to help with, isn't it? If those of us who are better off must have the financial and political imagination to attenuate at the very least and minimize people's suffering, but to help co-create a new kind of society where this is less the case. Doc, eat the rich, please. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely no burning of anyone. Thank you for mentioning that. No hurting or burning people. And it is a useful alternative. I thought you're a vegetarian, no, Doc. I mean, it would be an alternative to turkey that turkeys would be very happy about. I think people are waking up, even in the apathetic US. The Doc is right. The rich need to pay their taxes, and the majority of rich people are living on wealth they got through exploitation. Fitzbastard says the Turk. That was a comment left over from yesterday. The Fitzes. It seems Portugal is becoming a country of retirees. Young people want to leave and old people want to retire there. Yeah, and Jim, good morning to you. Thank you for chipping in, Jim. What's that in your photo there? Is that the Loch Ness Monster? But Jim, you make a good point. I'm trying to discuss this on I think it was Tuesday, you know, the Portuguese demographics, a lot of interesting statistics and numbers coming out at the moment that show how expats are contributing $1 billion to the economy, how Portuguese people are moving to the coast and the big cities. The demographics are a bit alarming, but still, all the potential, as the doc has said, is there for creating an amazing society here. But like you say, I think, Doc, we've got to start talking and we've got to get our heads together, haven't we? On the current trajectory, it's not a pretty picture. So we do have to step in, don't we, and shape it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, get involved in politics. It's only boring if you leave it to politicians. But if you don't do politics, politics will do you.
Indeed, as he is wont to say, and it's absolutely true. My New Year's challenge, I think this is a dig at me, is to visit fast food outlets, buy a meal, not to eat just for the price. I will create meals from said price for comparison. That's a great project. I'm not giving up fast food though. It's all about balance as far as I'm concerned though. And I'll come with you. I'll eat the meal and you make another one based on what I've just eaten. Carl, that is the problem with the US. The politicians get all their money from the corporations and the extremely rich. Grr. I understand that. I think I was making a bigger contextual point there. I don't disagree. Maybe Omicron isn't suppressing the interferon so well. Technical point there. Garvo's become quite the epidemiologist, virologist, and proctologist in this last little while. Doc, not sure. I think it's because the north we have less people, so if they have vaccines coming, they need to use them up. So, okay, move north to jump the queue. Good morning, Nunu from Jim. Carpe Diem's here, everybody. Need to get out for some walks. I'm Christmas movied out already. I can't watch another Hallmark production. Our little expat bar, the Moonlight at Prado Rocha, will be closed during the lockdown. They open at lunchtime, and it's not a late night place. So unfair. We feel your pain. Andy Gilchrist is here. Hope all is well, and wish all the happiest of festivities. It is past 10 o'clock. I will carry forward your beautiful images for Light Up Christmas to tomorrow, and they will certainly make the video. I can't keep putting you off like this, but we do have to finish with this hairless cat gate thing. To show you what actually happened. Footage is now in to show us what happened. Mrs. M can now stop giggling as we get to the bottom of this. Andy, before we play this, thank you so much. Thank you for your excellent service throughout the year, causing us to think, giving us hope, giving us advice from a medical point of view. You're a star, and I wish you and Leona and your lovely teenager there a very happy festive season.
Same to you, Carl, and your family.
To you all there in Leria.
Same to you and your family and everyone watching. Boas Festas, Feliz Natal, and Bom Ano Novo.
Oh, nice one, mate. Igualmente, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. Okay, let's go to the Delta Airlines flight now and find out exactly what happened.
Whether it's on a plane or not.
I'm holding my baby.
Please, I'm asking you, just show me that you have a baby.
Go ahead, take the blanket off if you're that sure. He's filming you do this, by the way.
Yes, you gave him permission. He will take
I
the
never
blanket
gave him
off.
permission.
You said go ahead and take the blanket off. So
It's a cat! It is a cat! I told you! I told you!
It's a lynx.
What? She has a
It's
cat.
an emergency service animal, and it's a lynx, not a cat. There's a
lynx?
big difference.
It's a lynx. It's a lynx.
It's not. It's a lynx.
is
that real?
Ma'am,
Is
you need to
I
sit
don't
back down,
know
ma'am.
a cat
You need
in
to
your
sit back
face.
down.
Get out.
You need to sit back down.
Is that a real
cat?
It's a lynx. Get away. Yeah, can we just? Is it a real cat?
Is it alive?
What is it?
It's an emergency service emotional support animal.
Oh, I believe that's
Well, that's
part of the
allowed.
regulation.
Yeah,
That's allowed.
that's allowed.
Okay.
That's all.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the
Wow.
eyes are.
Wow.